You know, it's the amount of money that something like that costs is hard to fathom. And I like that people are starting to think about the amount of money that we're spending on government programs. And I hope that we turn that eye towards the defense spending and the way that, you know, that's too much. Maybe that. So I had a lunch last week with someone who, great guy and very well informed about conspiracy theory, and I find conspiracy theory to be entertaining and occasionally maddening, and you know, the ones that get me all tripped up are like the Rothschilds, the Federal Reserve, fluoride in our water. Vaccines don't get me too much, but the big one is global banking and Rothschilds and the conversation was specifically about the Colorado shooting, and if you've seen any of the conspiracy stuff about that, a lot of people are saying it's a setup, and that he was a sleeper cell awakened, you know, agent that he took place in CIA experiments and then was kind of, you know, hypnotized or brainwashed to do this. And people say, well, why? Because there is a UN vote on the table to try to give the UN authority over arms, private citizens' arms ownership in other countries, which would mean that the UN would supersede a country and they could go in and say, you know, you guys aren't allowed to have all these guns, which puts the, you know, mythical, theoretical World Bank future fascist regime in a much better position if they can at will disarm the populace. I'm not saying this is the way it is. I'm saying this is the theory some of the ideas that are out there, and it's hard to get too deep into listening to some of these things without getting these shivers down your spine. And it gets really freaky when you think about some of these things, like the Rothschild banking is a generational thing. You know, even some of our history about some, you know, the way I understand it is some of the people that our history teaches us are the richest Americans through history were actually people working, you know, as you know, lieutenants. They use the word as lieutenants for the Rothschild regime. Crazy. Anyway, so I was thinking about this, and you know, so what do you do when the sickness is so deep in our culture? I mean, the same, you know, resource-rich entity that controls banking also controls media. You know, certainly has the resources to do all sorts of things. If you haven't watched the video or the book on Economic Hitman on YouTube, gives you another view about how, you know, so many things that we see in the news and on history are these orchestrated, like potentially, the theory is that these are orchestrated events to make sure that power players do what this power system wants them to do. And if they don't, then they die in play in accidents, or there's coups that go against them, or they get portrayed as being, you know, evil dictators. You know, you could say that, you know, you look at the way that the U.S. picks and chooses who we go after to know that it's you know, it's not a matter of morality. We don't go after the tyrants that are torturing their people. We find out, you know, there's somebody that we need to go after, and then we find the evidence of why we need to do it. Oh, they torture their people. Oh, they've got weapons of mass destruction. Oh, they don't have. We'll tell everyone they got weapons of mass destruction. Whatever. Okay, so there's enough potential reason to listen to an opposing perspective that the conspiracy stuff like gets me riled up occasionally and tickles me. But if it's true, and I think that I'm going to get a little flack for even saying this. Let's say it's true. Let's say that there is this multi-generational, maybe even dating back to aliens, influencing certain parts of certain humans, or maybe these certain humans are descendants of those aliens. You know, I'm not going to take a stance on that. What's your choice as a member of this incredibly infected culture? I think you have a couple of choices, and I think it is very similar to if you were a human being that was infected with some disease that was infiltrated your entire body. You could decide this is wrong. I need to rid myself of this disease, and I'm going to do whatever I can. I'm going to study as much as I can about it. I'm going to go to war against this disease. I'm going to, if there's too much in my arm, I'm going to cut my arm off. If I can use radiation or chemotherapy to shock my body and kill it off, I will. I'm going to do it. I'm going to fight this. Or you can say, I'm sick. That being said, I'm going to spend some time with my family. I'm going to enjoy the sunsets. I'm going to eat great food. And I'm going to hold hope for a miracle. I'm going to believe that I will have spontaneous healing or enlightenment. Something will come, but I'm choosing either to fight this for the rest of my life and make the rest of my life about this war, or recognize that the war is lost and then find whatever joy and pleasure is still available in the experience. I think it's pretty clear that I'm in the enjoy the cone faction of that belief. And I struggle with that sometimes, Partially because I think that you can be in the cone and also make progress towards goodness. It's just that it's not at the level of attacking the disease. It's more in the level of trying to shine so much light on the white blood cells, shine so much light on the healthy foods, shine so much light on the laughter and the joy that shifts happen in the body that we may not be able to understand. Miracles. Because, I don't know, I'm maybe that is the luxury of someone who lives in privilege in the Western world, clearly. Someone once said to Marianne Williamson, Jacob shares this quote, he goes, well, that's easy for you to say. And she said, well, yeah, that's why I'm saying it. So, to that argument, well, it's easy for you to say, you've got your health and you've got, a roof over your head. Easy for me to say, that's why I'm saying it. So, do I lose sleep at night with conspiracy theory stuff? Maybe like 3-4 nights a year. And the rest of the time, I just swim around in awe and appreciation and marvel at the gift of awareness, at this divine seed of perception that allows us to, when we can stop taking everything for granted and stop the voices focusing us on what's wrong, you can spend, no matter what is going on in your life, you can spend your day on what's wrong, or you can spend your day on what's right. I mean, clearly I'm in a position where a lot of things are going right. Or if I want, I could have spent the last hour talking about my finger, talking about, you know what? I'm not even going to go down that route. I am lucky to have a single, barely used digit where the only real consequences to my life are I keep sending emails without meaning to, and I keep hitting return without meaning to because it hits the shift. But that's livable. It's probably going to be in a sling or a little thing for Burning Man. But you know what? What an awesome reminder of the hundreds and hundreds of pieces of my body that are working perfectly. I'm not going to war against my finger. I'm throwing a party for everybody else. And the finger's invited, as long as he, doesn't get too crazy, no breakdancing. As I was in a conversation this afternoon online about NASA spending, and it got a little kind of heated, and, in the end I was like, look, I want to say I appreciate the dialogue, and this, as with everything, my opinion on this is fluid. So I'm not saying any of this as a declaration of truth, or I'm not saying that I will, defend this belief to any degree, really. I'm just sharing it as a belief buffet dish. I cooked this up in my mind's kitchen recently, and I'm sharing it because it tastes good to me right now. But I might lose my taste for it tomorrow. You might think it's disgusting today. I appreciate the opportunity to have freedom of ideas and freedom of thought. And what a perfect segue that is! Freedom! And freedom of speech! So, I don't know if any of you guys have had fried chicken in the last few years. I have not. From what I understand, it's now become a statement of your opinion on gay marriage. I don't want to get into too much of it because, quite frankly, I have not been studying this issue. Owners of Chick-fil-A donate money to anti-gay marriage causes. Someone kind of called them on it and they said, hey, guilty as charged. Yes, we are against gay marriage and we support, basically anti-gay organizations and doing their work. To which my first thought was, whoa, bold. And to my second thought was, bravo. So many corporations are, greenwashing and BSing and basically being politicians, saying whatever you want to hear, and meanwhile, behind the scenes, doing who knows what atrocities to the planet, and to our culture, and to our government, to get their profits up. Here's a company that says, you want to know where we stand? We're bigots. You don't like it? Don't eat our food. Awesome! That's how the system should work, I think. So apparently they had a day to celebrate, and so church groups, God, that's so embarrassing. I try hard not to blanket Christians into one group, because I know that saying Christians is like saying Americans. You can't go to another country, and if someone says, oh, I hear Americans all have guns and are in gangs, it's like, well, some Americans are. I hear Christians, hate gays and want me to go to hell. Well, some Christians, the ones that follow Jesus, they're awesome people. Jesus is a sweet role model. But that's another topic. Apparently some people, they pick and choose the parts of the Bible they like. They eat shellfish, and especially eat chicken that the money supports this company that then gives the money to causes that are against gay marriage. Or equality unions, or whatever the widely tested terms are. So people made it into an issue of free speech. And this is where it gets a little tricky, is this, apparently some politicians came out and said, they wanted to take action. And that is a problem. Saying that an organization cannot be in business because of their beliefs, that is wrong. But, and I think that, I had somebody argue with me that, look, I believe in freedom of speech, so I went and ate at Chick-fil-A that day. You think that's what that statement said? You think that eating at Chick-fil-A during all of this hubbub is a statement about freedom of speech? If you're concerned about freedoms, the Chick-fil-A stance is clearly against the freedoms of a certain population of people. I mean, if it's not clear, it will be in a few years. I love those pictures of the people picketing the segregated integrated schools and the black students, and then the pictures of people with their signs in front of Chick-fil-A, and it's like, you're going to be pretty embarrassed in 20 years. Yeah, I think so. I believe in freedom of speech more than the average Klansman, probably. I really believe that freedom of speech is important, but what is freedom of speech? Freedom of speech means you have the right to say what you want. It doesn't mean you have the right to say whatever you want with no consequences. It means that you can't be imprisoned for it. It means that you can't have your printing press taken away. It means that you can't be your voice can't be shut down by the government. It means you can stand on a street corner and say, I hate blank. And if people walk by you and spit on your shoes, well, that's the consequences. And if you are a business owner and you say, this is Joe's anti-gay dinery, and people go, what? I'm not eating there. That's how it should work. There should be consequences to the stance that a corporation takes. There should be consequences to the stance that a person takes. We should reward the ones that we align with, and we should discourage voting with our dollar to the ones that we disagree with. I believe in the Nazi Party's right to march. I am not going to put money in their collection plate to fund their movement. That's crazy. They should go out of business. They should have the right for freedom of speech. They should know their consequences. I'm not sure. I might be missing something on this. But to me, to say this is about freedom of speech that is letting the media, somebody in the media, twist your mind in wacky ways. So, and all the while, we have this culture of fast food, this culture of obesity, this incredible expense on our system with healthcare because of our eating habits. I mean, we should be protesting Chick-fil-A and all, fast food establishments for all sorts of reasons. And they should have the freedom to make it. And then we should vote with our dollar to encourage a better attitude, a better product, a better experience, a better future for our bodies and our families. There's a great article in the most recent Wired about an ex-McDonald's executive who is trying to start a large-scale, economy of scale fast food restaurant that is healthy. Only, grain-fed beef. Only sustainable farming communities. I mean, instead of fries, they're going to have Brussels sprouts. Seriously, Brussels sprouts. And to do it, just like McDonald's did McDonald's changed the way our nation farmed, changed the way the world farmed in horrible ways. The rainforests, at night, they have nightmares about McDonald's. So he wants to use those same mentalities, the same buying power of scale, to change the world, to change farming, to encourage farmers to do these sustainable practices, because that's how you'll get your stuff bought by this juggernaut of healthy food. And looking at the Whole Foods and the Henry's and these kind of markets that people are starting to pay more for something they know is better for their family. And since parents buy so much of the food, that his gamble, which I hope, and I'm going to be voting with my dollar, is that people will pay a little bit more if they know that they are doing good things for their family. And if enough of us do it, we can change farming, we can change chemicals in our food, we can change the water supply because of those things, we can change pollution because of those things, we can change all of these things, but it takes the economic power of scale. The same economic power that allows a Chick-fil-A to stay in business. So, I'm holding off on chicken. It's been many years since I've had chicken. I have had chicken with a K because I love those fake soy nuggets. It's funny, I haven't had real meat in so long that I think things that I think fake chicken nuggets taste like chicken nuggets, and I think fake soy hot dogs taste like hot dogs. Somebody came over the other day and I'm like, hey, do you want a hot dog? I'm like, well, actually I have no idea if this tastes like a real hot dog. I haven't had a hot dog in over 20 years, but to me, with mustard and a bun, this is like going out to the ballpark. Because I haven't gone to the ballpark in 20 years either. That's where they play sports, right? Yeah. I don't know. Check out the recent Wired magazine for more information on the healthy fast food project that is underway. It's super exciting. I think it's I think it's if there's going to be change, it has to be in those ways. You have these incredible examples like Cafe Gratitude, which is there's several of these restaurants that I think stemmed out of the Landmark Foundation, or people that went to it, which is a place where they embody all of these amazing principles, but the scale is small, and they just got hit by some lawsuits, and so they're struggling. To really make a dent in our system, you have to hit big. Walmart destroys our culture, destroys communities, destroys our system because they're so big, and we think so small that we would rather get something cheap in the short run than embrace the diversity of our cities, but rather than frequent small businesses, because it's just easier and cheaper to go and Okay, I'm getting off track. The point is, freedom of speech, very important. Yes, there should be consequences. If you want to judge me for my expression of my beliefs, I welcome that and embrace that and deserve that, and that's how the system should work. If you want to stop sending me checks because you no longer agree with what I say, well, so be it. What's that? No, you're not sending me... Oh, well. My TED Talk should go online in the next day or two, from what I hear. You will hear from me. I will be promoting like a crazed madman. Let's see, what else? Maybe I should just... I'm going to do a little pseudo close so I can stop the archive, and then I'll keep talking. As always, thank you for allowing me to share what's in my heart with slight filtering through my mind. It's so encouraging and wonderful to know that there is a community of people who will take a few minutes a week to recalibrate, to question some things, to, I guess, share this vibration of awe and appreciation and wonder, and I miss it when I'm not here, even though I know it's always available with a little on-demand thing. But I treasure the connection and affirmation of knowing that you are on the planet. Thank you. All right, I'm going to open the window because it's now hot in here.
What?